This group or that group is marginalized. It meant that ain't nobody paying attention to them. It meant that they are the poor, the downtrodden, the minority, the people that we can get away with not doing anything to help them. That's what marginalized means. And the lepers, they were marginalized before they knew the word marginalized. They had to keep their distance from normal people. They had to warn people of their condition under the threat of punishment for not doing so. When they saw someone, if there was a group or if there was one person, and I came too close to you, I would have to say, unclean, unclean, so that you would know not to get too close to me. So here was a lot of miserable people. We have such people today. Not lepers by the book, but in the spirit. There's castaways.
Talk now.
Severe poverty is a sort of leprosy, isn't it? I'm talking about severe poverty. I'm not talking about people that just want to get the latest phone. I got a flip phone instead of the latest phone. I'm talking about severe poverty. I'm talking about where people really don't have nothing to eat. You know, what we call, a lot of times what we call poverty over here in America, people got food every night, eating good, just don't have all the luxuries, but severe poverty is a sort of leprosy of modern day. So we see in the idea of collective suffering, that's what bound this 10 lepers together. It brought them together. It bound them together when nothing else would have. They probably didn't have much else in common, according to most of the writings on this. There was at least one Samaritan. The others, now some say that they were all Jews. The writing doesn't tell us that they were all Jews. But I'm going to guess that maybe the majority of them were actually Jews. But the suffering broke down the cultural barriers that brought them together. The next point, though, is the collective obedience. There's something about it, and that's what the church is supposed to be. The church is supposed to be symbolic of the collective obedience to Christ. Yes, sir. We're supposed to have this collective obedience, and yet we have how many different denominations? And I think that it's okay to have some differences in theological views, but sometimes it's way out of whack of what we want to do together, of how we don't have any sort of real collective obedience, even while the world itself is coming together against us. And you know, the thing about the opposition to Christianity is that it does not have to be united. It just has to be opposed to Christianity. Isn't that something? But we need to be united. That's right. And we're not. And yet we find, though, in this collective 10, that they were at least united around this simple idea that Jesus could heal them. Yes, sir. If we ain't got nothing else in common with Pastor O.T., we had that. That's right. We've heard of Jesus. We've heard of him healing others. We've heard of him doing the miraculous. He can heal us. Yes. And so they were brought together with this collective idea, and there was a collective obedience. If only this once, it was there. The formula for their team building was based on their misery. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all hear me? Because we do that on the job. We got a trainer here right now, and you talk about team building. But their formula for building a team was based on the fact that they were in misery. And that brought them together. That gave them this bond. It was a forced unity. The unity wasn't something that they were unified because they got together. They wanted to be unified. They were unified because they were forced to be unified. And so as they walked, a wail, a cry went out together to Jesus, a cry for mercy. It was a sound full of grief. Can you imagine? Have you ever seen anything like that? I know when I was a young man, I was 18, 19 years old, I was in the military. When you first get on the ship, and I was in the U.S. Navy, and I was assigned to the USS Bolster, stationed out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And I can remember we were moored over on an Air Force base, and we would go on what's called the Westpac Cruise, and I remember us sailing to the Philippines and us mooring in Sunapeg Bay, Olongapo. And I can remember I was on mess duty. I was a new recruit, so that was one of the first things they had you doing, was doing mess duty. That's then working in the kitchen. And we had to take out these garbage barrels of garbage that basically after the ship's chef had made, the thrown away food was putting it in. I can remember taking it out to the side of the port there. And as soon as I set it down, this group of kids came over and started going through the garbage. Some of us never seen something like that. But what we consider to be poor, to the world standards of poor, is simply not poor. And that happened every day that we were there. These kids would come over and go through the